If you've been following this channel for a while now, you know that I recently bought this V15 Detect Plus from Dyson, but you guys probably didn't know that I have a DC65 multi-floor. This was bought in 2015, had it till now, so it's been about 6 years. It weighs 17 pounds, more or less. The Detect Plus weighs 7.5, I believe. So it's about a 10-pound difference between the two. We do not use this one as much anymore, simply because this one is so much more convenient. Prior to having this vacuum, I had the DC65 multi-floor. I had bought that vacuum the same year that I bought this upright, so that I had two vacuums for two different jobs. This was the main vacuum for the usual cleaning, and then the DC35 was for spot cleaning. That vacuum was a lot smaller. The head was a lot narrower. The battery life was only 15 minutes, and I just recently sold it not a few months ago, so it lasted quite a while. But I was not aware that these Dyson cordless vacuums have come a long way. I believe the runtime of these now go up to almost an hour on eco mode, and we really haven't even used this since. It's just collecting dust. I usually do use it for cleaning up the basement and the really dirty areas of the house, simply because I thought it was stronger. But recently I found out that if what I'm seeing is correct, it seems like that this V15 is still more powerful than this vacuum. Before I show you what I mean, both vacuums were clean. The filter was washed on this V15, canister is emptied. Brush roll has been cleaned out with the hair. The gate is set to full open, just for default. This vacuum got a deep clean because, again, I mentioned that I do a lot of dirty cleanup jobs with this. The filter was clean, the brush roller was clean, the canister was clean, the filter in here was clean, everything was taken apart. I have a quick clip of that. You could even see the water that stays in here from soaking it. Mark the corner right there with the edge of that speaker. Just gonna do a quick square pass with the upright first. I'm gonna do multiple passes because I feel like this one, again, is the weaker of the two vacuums. Now I'm going to try the V15. If that particle counter is correct, after you clean the spot, it should not register any more particles. So to clear out any residual dirt in there, I'm just going to run it for a few seconds. So again, I'm not trying to make this a scientific test by any means. For all I know, that particle counter could be a gimmick. But don't take my word for this. Try doing this at home if you have two of these vacuums, especially one of these older ones. I've seen this around the house a lot. After I clean with this upright and I go through it with the V15, it picks up significantly more particles. Again, assuming that that counter is correct. But as I mentioned before, if you just clean one area, that counter does stop. The advantage that this Dyson upright has is that the cleaner head is a lot wider. I believe they have outsized, which is a lot wider. But for us, we don't want to deal with the extra weight. This does get pretty hard on your wrist after a while. Only other drawback of this vacuum is that there's still no way to hold this lock in place. can't imagine people with arthritis, how they deal with it. I know they have locks for it, but considering that they're up to the V15 now, I'm surprised that they haven't incorporated some sort of lock somewhere. That's my only complaint so far of this vacuum. As for this one, I'm not upset about the suction being weaker than this one, because obviously this is a lot older vacuum. I definitely don't mind keeping it around the house. The cords do get in the way, but you already knew that. But sometimes it's just nice to have this upright. The only drawback I could think of is ever since day one, you let go of it. So that's happened so many times. Again, one. So you have to one click and then kind of shove it again. There's a second click that's not as loud, and then it stays upright. Surprised they even allowed that to leave the factory like that, but well. And really quick, this is the prime reason why I still love having this older Dyson upright around the house. That's sawdust. I do have a shop vac, but it's really tiny, doesn't really do anything. I was routing out the hinges for that door. And you know, this stuff is not really good for vacuum cleaners in general. Again, you're supposed to use a shop vac, but since this is so old now, I just use this for drywall dust cleanup, sawdust, and honestly, if it breaks, I'm not going to blame the vacuum. It's not meant to do that kind of stuff. But it has taken a beating, and I'm very happy with this one. I think I only spent like less than $300 at the time. It's a lot cheaper than the animal version. Dyson stopped development after 2018 or so. They're just focusing on cordless. Don't know if I mentioned that earlier. But I'm going to keep using this. Like they say of cars, I'm going to drive it to the ground until it breaks. If there's anything else you want to see of this, let me know, and I'll be glad to do a video on it. Have a good night.